Hello and welcome to part 2 dealing with OpenFiler. In this part what we're going to be doing is creating an iSCSI target. So we'll have to go in, create a volume group, build up a share with a file system and then target it through LUN mapping onto an iSCSI qualified name and then make sure that we can reach it network wise using IPisms and the like. So let's go and have a look, see if we can log in. So again, using Google or Googly, that's https://192.168.1.209 colon 446 as the port number. You might need to proceed anyway at this point. If you get a certificate issue, just proceed. It'll be fine. And password is the password, all in lowercase. So log in, you're there, and it's volumes that we're going to be dealing with, so let's click on volumes at the top there. So volume group management is the first area that we need to go, and of course there's nothing here, so we should really consider creating a new physical volume by clicking on the highlighted link. So click on away, you can see the block devices that we have available to us. HDA has 3 partitions, if we bring those up. Those 3 partitions being the root, boot and swap space, which of course is the OpenFiler operating system. dev/SDA and dev/SDB are 2 blank areas effectively to work as 2 SCSI devices as such that we set up when we installed OpenFiler, and we left them in abeyance ready to be used as SAN iSCSI targets. Let's SDA, let's click on that. We can see there's nothing here, so we need to create a partition. We're going to create a primary partition, a physical volume, and create away. So click on create and wait. There's always a wait. We've got that nice clicky sound that some things have that tell you you've done it. But there we go. There's our partition in play. So the next thing on the agenda is using the right hand menus is to go into volume groups. Let's create a volume group here. Let's give the volume group a volume group name. iSCSI it's the first SAN. Volume 1 is vol. Let's call it that. Let's select the volumes we want to use. In this case, there's only one single volume. There's only one we've created so far. But if you're doing a RAID group, then you'd have several volumes that would be linked together. But that's for another day. Add volume group, so click and wait. And then we can see that our volume group management says we are hunky-dory. Now it's time to deal with shares. Let's go up to shares. Let's create a new file system volume. Now there's nothing here to change because there's only one volume group that we've created. There could be more, of course. So this is the area that we're going to be working on. Click on change and select volume group, and what we can see below is our iSCSI SAN volume. We're going to add a volume name, iSCSI SAN 1 volume 1. It's our first iSCSI volume. And the space that's required for this, we're going to take the whole of the space. So go up, copy that, paste him in. Make sure you're using a block device, which is iSCSI. Hit create, and there we are. It's all gone green. That volume is available for us. If you have a look, you can see it's an iSCSI file system type. You'll not see anything in file system size and so on. That'll be not applicable, not applicable, not applicable, and that'll be the same even when you've installed and you've got your iSCSI initiator running some kind of server or something over the top of this file system that we're making available. So that basically that bit of it is controlled by the iSCSI initiator, and essentially is that operating system. So it won't show up here is the point. Right, enough of that babblings. Let's move on. A couple of checks first under services. Let's make sure that iSCSI target is enabled. That is indeed it is. That's good to go. So in fact, back under volumes, if we now look at iSCSI targets, we need to add an iSCSI target. So this is its iSCSI's qualified name, IQN. So let's add that. And you'll use that as part of the initialization of the link from an iSCSI client through to the iSCSI target here. If we look down through, we can see that the iSCSI target then is there. If there were others, we'd be able to select those and change, so we can modify those parameters. There's some higher level parameters here that you might want to have a look at one day. That's for another day. We're quite happy with all of that, so there's nothing really to change here. Just make sure everything's taken with an update at the bottom. And that's job done as far as the sort of iSCSI target is. What we need to do now is do a bit of LUN mapping, because all we've created so far is a block device, this iSCSI block device, and we need to map that onto one of our iSCSI targets so that iSCSI initiators know which resources they're actually going to be using, which LUNs they're going to be using. I'm actually going to map the whole of this, so map that across, and we can now see that that's associated with our iSCSI target. Now again, part of the checks that we're doing here is under network access control list, and we would have done this earlier. We need to make sure that this is now set to allow, so that the network is allowed to see this. And if we had any chat authentication in play, then we'll put a username and password in there for chat. I suggest we don't do that just yet. Something to come back and change. Change that when, of course, you know it's up and running, and then do it at both ends, of course. Part of that was in accordance with the fact that in the System tab, so I've slipped across to System, you can see the next network access configuration, and we have a network down there, which is our iSCSI network, which again is 192.168.1.0. So what we've done for the individual iSCSI target, what we've now done is we've said, right, we've got a network access control list for that particular IQN. So that should be available as a resource for the purposes of an iSCSI target connecting to it. One of the things you'll need to do, of course, is make sure you've got that value copied across, probably into Notepad and the like, so that you can actually use that fairly quickly in order to get your iSCSI target from your iSCSI client. Well, that's enough for this recording. What we're going to do in part 3 is link our iSCSI client. We're actually going to use a virtual box to do that, and we're going to use command line in order to make it all happen. So we'll see you in part 3.